What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Church Boy V back with another video. Today we're gonna react to this video. Disney lied to us, and we're gonna see what they talking about. Um, a lot of their stories be from dark events or dark stories. I don't know if it's folktale or not, but they're gonna break it down for this is part one, cause I might do 3 parts. We're gonna see how this turned out. Let's get into the video. Hope you're having a blessed day.
In the original fairy tale by Charles Perrault, the sleeping princess isn't woken up by a kiss from a prince who loves her. She's actually woken up because she gives birth to twins while unconscious. A wandering king finds her sleeping, does something terrible, and leaves. The babies arrive, one of them latches onto her finger while searching for food, and that pulls out the curse. Disney took that story, scrubbed all of it out, and replaced it with True Love's Kiss. Which sounds beautiful, except it made generations of kids believe that love from a stranger you've never spoken to can fix anything. The prince in Sleeping Beauty doesn't know Aurora at all. He sees her once in a forest. That's it. Disney called that true love, and we all accepted it without blinking. The curse was real. The fix was completely invented. Cinderella's glass slipper. We all grew up thinking Cinderella's shoes were made of glass because they were magical and special and unique. But that detail might be one of the most famous translation errors in all of storytelling. When Charles Perrault wrote the original French version of the tale, the slippers were described as being made of vair, which is a type of rare fur used in royal clothing. But when the story got translated into English, vair was misread or mistranslated as verre, which is the French word for glass. Two words that sound almost identical but mean completely different things. Fur slippers make practical sense for a story about a girl going to a royal ball in winter. Glass slippers would shatter the moment you walked in them. Disney took that mistranslation, made it the centerpiece of the story, and built the whole identity of Cinderella around footwear that probably shouldn't exist at all. We spent our entire childhoods obsessing over shoes that started as a reading error. By the way, if you guys like Disney content like this, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, The Little Mermaid's ending. In the Disney version, Ariel gives up her voice, falls in love with Eric, and everything works out perfectly. She gets legs permanently, marries the prince, and swims off into a happily ever after. The original story by Hans Christian Andersen ends completely differently. In his version, the Little Mermaid does get her legs, but every step she takes feels like she's walking on broken glass. The prince doesn't fall in love with her. He marries someone else entirely. Her sisters offer her a way out.
Wait, so he married somebody else and she in pain? Disney, come on Disney, why you do us like that?
They trade their own hair to a sea witch for a knife and tell her that if she kills the prince before sunrise, she can return to the sea and live. She refuses to do it because she loves him too much. And then she dissolves into sea foam and dies. That's the actual story. Hans Christian Andersen wrote it partly as a reflection of his own unrequited love, and the idea that some sacrifices don't get rewarded. Disney flipped the ending completely, removed all the pain, and gave us a pop soundtrack instead. The Real Little Mermaid is a tragedy about loving someone who will never love you back. Pocahontas' love story. The movie presents Pocahontas and John Smith as an epic romance. Two people from different worlds who fall in love and almost change the course of history. But the real Pocahontas was around 11 or 12 years old when she first met John Smith. Smith himself was in his late 20s. There was no romance between them, not even close. The real relationship between them was that of a child occasionally helping a desperate group of settlers survive. Pocahontas' actual name was Amanute, and Pocahontas was a nickname that roughly translated to playful one or ill-behaved child. She was later captured by English colonizers, held for ransom, converted to Christianity, given the name Rebecca, and married off to a tobacco farmer named John Rolfe, not John Smith. She died at around 21 years old while in England, far from her home. Disney took the real life of a young indigenous girl who suffered tremendously under colonization and turned it into a romantic musical about colors of the wind. The history underneath is heartbreaking. The movie made it look like a fairy tale. Mulan's China. Disney's Mulan is presented as a story rooted deeply in ancient Chinese culture and history. The Great Wall, the Emperor, the Honor Code, the ancestral spirits. It all feels like a window into a real historical world. But most of what's in that movie is either heavily distorted or entirely invented. The original poem the story comes from, the Ballad of Hua Mulan, is only around 31 lines long. It doesn't mention dragons, talking crickets, or a villain named Shan Yu. attempting to destroy the empire for personal glory. The poem is quiet and understated. Mulan goes to war, serves for 12 years, returns home, and no one in the military ever finds out she's a woman.
Oh, wow.
There's no musical number. There's no love interest in the original. There's no Mushu the dragon cracking jokes. She turns down a government position and goes home to her family. The reunion is simple and private. Disney expanded 31 lines into a full Hollywood action movie, invented almost every major plot point, and wrapped it in a version of Chinese culture that was designed primarily for Western audiences rather than for actual cultural accuracy. When the live-action remake arrived years later and tried to be more faithful to Chinese mythology, Chinese audiences had their own criticisms about what it still got wrong. The core of the story, a daughter sacrificing everything for her father in her honor, is real and beautiful. But almost everything built around it in the animated version was a Hollywood construction, dressed up in silk robes. Aladdin's time period. Aladdin feels like it's set in ancient Arabia. Sand dunes, bazaars, oil lamps, and magic carpets. The whole movie screams ancient Middle Eastern history. But the original story from 1001 Nights isn't set in Arabia at all. In the original text, Aladdin is actually Chinese. The city in the story is described as being in China, and Aladdin himself is the son of a poor Chinese tailor. The genie, the lamp, and the magic cave are all there, but the geographic setting is completely different. When Disney adapted it, they moved the entire story to a fictional Arabian city called Agrabah, redesigned the cultural aesthetic entirely, and created a version of the Middle East that was largely built on Hollywood stereotypes, rather than any specific real culture. Several of the original songs in the film contain lyrics that were later removed after protests from Arab American groups who found them offensive. The whole world of Aladdin feels specific and grounded, but it's actually a patchwork of different cultures, filtered through one studio's imagination, starting from a source story set somewhere completely different, Bambi's mother. Disney made us cry with Bambi's mother dying off screen. Here isn't about her death, it's about what kind of story Bambi actually is.
I know it's hard to believe, but you could qualify for extra cash up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. I'm always shocked.
The original novel, Bambi, A Life in the Woods, was written by Felix Salten and published in 1923. It wasn't a children's book. It was a serious literary novel written partly as a metaphor for anti-Semitism in Europe. Salten was Jewish, and the story of deer being hunted by an unnamed, all-powerful force referred to only as him was widely understood as a commentary on the persecution of Jewish people in Europe. The book is dark, philosophical, and deeply sad in ways that go far beyond a mother getting shot. Disney took that layered political allegory and turned it into an animated film for children about woodland creatures. The death of Bambi's mother survived the adaptation, but everything it actually meant was stripped out. Generations of kids cried at that scene without ever knowing they were watching the remnant of a story about something far more serious and real than a hunting accident. The Hunchback of Notre Dame's happy ending. Disney gave Quasimodo a cheerful resolution. He rings the bells, the crowd cheers for him, he's accepted by the city, and while he doesn't get the girl, he gets something even better, belonging. It ends on a high note, but the original novel by Victor Hugo is one of the most tragic stories ever written. In Hugo's version, Esmeralda is falsely accused of attempted murder.
Wow. So we're going to end it on there. We might do a part 2 next week. We'll see how I'm going to see how my schedule look and whatnot, but most probably we're going to do part 2. So I didn't know that. I heard about the only one I heard about was the Mulan one and the Pocahontas one. Everything else, I take that back. I heard about the Pocahontas, the Mulan, and the Little Mermaid. I heard about them 3. Everything else, I ain't know about. So this is crazy. Disney just out here flipping stories, making profit. At least they ain't plagiarizing. So I mean, about the only good thing. So y'all let me know which one shocked y'all. Cause apparently Disney just took bits and pieces of different stories and flipped them. Cause that's pretty shocking and interesting that they even did any of this. So hey, not surprised. So y'all let me know what y'all thought. Trying to think anything else in the announcements. This summer is around the corner, so be ready. Finna do some vlogs. DreamCon coming around the corner, and I about to have a good time. So y'all have a blessed one. God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, myself, we love you. Take care, stay safe, and we out.